we are working on Parsvottanasana, pyramid pose. In Parsvottanasana, we have a few options on how to explore this particular pose. So we have a counter right behind us as well as a wall. We also have blocks and we also have a chair. So we're going to go through a couple of variations on how to modify and adapt this pose so that it's accessible. Let's start with our hips forward, squared off to the front edge of your mat. We'll begin with the chair. We'll take the chair onto the mat. Make sure that you have all 4 feet of the chair on your mat so it doesn't slip and slide, okay? And then what we're going to do is your student has the option of either using the lower portion of the chair, or if your chair had arms on it, they could use the arms, or they could use the upper edge, which we're going to use today, okay? Now, let's take our right leg back behind us. You're going to go about legs distance, but maybe more like 3 feet apart. And then let's keep that right hip forward. The back foot is going to kind of press the heel out and towards the right, and you bring the right foot an itty bitty bit towards the left at the front. Then look forward. Let's begin to bring the left hip back slightly and then pause. At this particular moment is where you want to check in with your legs and notice if you have to turn your back foot out, realign, bend your knee, readjust, and then start to bring the left hip back more. Bring your hands to the upper part of the chair, and from here we start to bring the hips back together in one unison line and look forward. And instead of rounding through the upper back, really encourage yourself to move forward through the crown and bring your hips back more. And if you need to bend the knees slightly to keep the hips reaching backwards, please do so. Really actively press into that left foot and then even press into the right heel. Good, and squeeze the inner thighs towards one another. And then the student that's using the upper portion of the chair might slide their hands down the chair as they begin to progress, lengthening the crown forward. Keep bringing that right hip forward, left hip back, and then from here bring your belly button in a little bit more. Good. And then slowly but surely over time, we squeeze those thighs a little bit more, and we begin to straighten the legs a little bit more, but in due time, you might be here today in just a little bit more of bent knee, okay? So this is the variation in the chair, and quite coincidentally, you can just move and progress your way down the chair as you feel comfortable. Let's slowly come out of the pose and step the right foot forward. And let's go ahead and now bring it down. Let's actually turn around and use the cabinets or your wall or the counter space. So in the counter space, it's about level to the hips, and it would be the same thing if you are utilizing the wall. So what you'd have is your right foot forward, okay, left foot back, again 3 feet in distance, and hips are facing the wall or facing that counter, the table. The hands are going to be at level height there at the table, and at the wall you want to have the hands at about hip height. A little bit more modified is to bring the hands higher to the wall and then really push that wall away from you as you bring your hips back, but keeping the knee bent to start, okay? Same option applies here. So the hands are on the counter or on the table, and we're bringing the hips back together, squeezing the inner thighs. And then if you have your right knee bent, go ahead and keep it bent and keep activating through your left heel. And then we reach the right hip back, left hip forward. Keep pushing that counter away from you or that table away from you. And this is it for today. If you feel comfortable and you want to start to walk your hands out, you can start to walk your hands out. And if you're against the wall and you feel that, you know what, I feel pretty comfortable here, I'm going to walk my legs back and go a little bit deeper, then you can go a little bit deeper until you feel comfortable. Okay. Now this pose, then we go ahead and progress it down. So once we feel comfortable in either side, right? Once you're level, and if you have any limitations with dizziness or vertigo, then you're going to want to keep the head above your heart. No problem. You want to make sure you do that, honor that. And then this way you prevent the dizzy spells, my friends. So now we're coming into the variation with the blocks. So if we were in a forward fold, the right foot forward, left foot back, and then again, squeeze the inner thighs towards each other, right? Widen the stance if need be. And then from this space, you're looking forward, right knee may be slightly bent, or you're gonna start to drape your belly over your thigh, and then your crown down. You're gonna get a pretty significant stretch here in the hamstring, if this is where you're at, okay? And then from this space, your hands can be on the top block, medium level, or on the third, okay? Also, you can stack your blocks if you feel that you need to bring the earth to you, and let your fingers touch the earth and keep squeezing the inner thighs towards each other, okay? And really beginning to straighten the leg as best you can so that you're getting more length, right? And then from here, you start to walk your way up or use your blocks to help you and find length. Bend the front knee, step forward, and we come to standing pose. Now the full variation of the pose would be left foot forward, right leg back. So I'm just switching sides to balance out. Heel-heel alignment, preferably keeping the hips square and drawing that right hip forward, left hip back. Hollowing out the belly, drawing the lower belly up and in. Again, very aggressively squeezing your thigh muscles. This is not a lazy pose, okay? Very active, very fiery, very tapas, very vata energy. And then as we exhale, bend the elbows and start to drape down over the leg, and you might even start to walk your hands back slightly. You might walk them, turning the hands backwards here, okay? And you'll be here resting over this leg for a few rounds of breath while opening up slowly. So there's no forcing in this pose here. There's no forcing. There's just really active energy, really squeezing through the calf muscle and the thigh muscle to protect the knees, and to also offer some opening up through the psoas. And then slowly begin to bring your way up is walking yourself up, finding length. Maybe the hands are coming towards your hips to help you. And then slowly rise up, shoulders over hips, okay? And then we walk forward and the hands come to the heart. Beautiful. And then shake that out. So those are all the variations of the pose, and noticing how the different engagement of the muscles help to progress as we go deeper and deeper into the experience of the pyramid pose. Keeping in mind that having the hands on the hips and staying long is just as good. So there's all the variations that you have to work with. Namaste, and I'll see you in the next video.